Hello and welcome to My Low Country Living. I'm Tommy Ray. Today I'm going to go ahead and show you how to make some Italian style meatballs. Now these are fantastic to put on top of your spaghetti or any pasta that you have, but I also like to go ahead and make a big batch so that I can make a second meal later that week of an Italian meatball sandwich. You're going to enjoy this recipe. So let's go ahead and get started. For ingredients, we're going to start with 1/3 cup of breadcrumbs, a 1/2 cup of milk, 1 pound of ground beef, a pound of ground pork, a 1/2 cup of fresh parsley that is chopped up, an onion, diced up onion, 3 cloves of garlic, a teaspoon of fresh basil, a teaspoon of oregano, 1 teaspoon salt, a teaspoon of black pepper, a 1/2 teaspoon of red pepper flakes, 3 tablespoons of Parmesan cheese, 2 eggs, and just a little bit of olive oil. About 2 tablespoons we'll use because we're going to saute those onions. Okay, let's get started. So the very first thing we're going to do is soak our breadcrumbs in the milk for about 20 minutes. So, whoops, have 1/3 cup of breadcrumbs right there. And we're going to put in a 1/2 cup of milk. Okay, now let's just go ahead and let that soak up. Okay, next we're going to go ahead and take our onion and we're going to go ahead and dice that up. So cut off the little end pieces here. I'm just going to quarter mine right here. Then I'm going to go ahead and put these quartered pieces into my KitchenAid chopper. Okay, I know I kind of cheated dicing up those onions, but it's a lot quicker for me and I don't have the onions getting in my eyes and make me want to cry. From there, we're going to go ahead and take the onions and put them into our pan. I'm going to go ahead and add about 2 tablespoons of olive oil to our pan, and we're going to saute this for about 20 minutes while the breadcrumbs are soaking. Okay, it's been 20 minutes on our onions and they are nice and sauteed, so we're going to go ahead and turn the heat off on those. And while those go ahead and cool down, we'll go ahead and start mixing together our other ingredients. I'm just going to remove that from the heat real quick. Okay, let's start adding our ingredients. First, we're going to go ahead and put in our pound of ground beef. And on the ground beef, I know a lot of people like to get the leanest possible, but we do need to have some fat content in here so the meatballs stay juicy. So if you want to go ahead and use 80-20 ground beef like I did, that would be the best choice. And then you go ahead and add in a pound of ground pork as well. Next, we're going to go ahead and put in our soaked breadcrumbs. Our sauteed onions come next. Salt and pepper. Oregano. Garlic that's been chopped up, three garlic cloves. Our parsley and our pepper flakes. And then there's just 3 things left, and that is our fresh basil, our eggs, and our Parmesan cheese. So what I'm going to do for the fresh basil is we're going to go ahead and chop up fresh basil and put that in there. And so to get about a teaspoon, I'm going to go ahead and take 4 basil leaves off a fresh plant that I have. And you want it to chop them easily. You want to go ahead and place them on top of each other, and then you're going to roll them up on each other, and take your knife and start slicing it into thin little slices. And you can go ahead and cross chop it the other direction to make the pieces smaller. Okay, and I'll go ahead and measure that here real quick into our measuring spoon to see if we have our teaspoons worth. And there is a teaspoon of basil. We'll go ahead and add in our eggs next. There's the first egg, second egg, and lastly we're going to do the Parmesan cheese. I'm going to use fresh Parmesan cheese, so I'm going to go ahead and grate some into this little bowl right here. And for Parmesan cheese, if you can go ahead and buy fresh Parmesan cheese at the store, and you can go ahead and get it in a big old block, or you can go ahead and get the end pieces of the Parmesan cheese, and these sell for a lot cheaper. So your Parmesan cheese will usually sell for about $6.99 per pound, and these end pieces will sell anywhere from $2.50 to $2.99 per pound. So they're a lot cheaper. They fit perfectly into a cheese grinder. So let's go ahead and get a piece right here, and we're just going to go ahead and grind that up until we have 3 tablespoons worth. And it's okay if we grind extra cheese, because we can go ahead and use that extra cheese on our meatballs when we're done serving them, either on pasta or go ahead and put that onto your meatball sandwich. Okay, so let's go ahead and measure out about roughly 3 tablespoons here. 1, 2, and 3. It's okay to have a little extra cheese. Tastes good. The rest of this I'll go ahead and save, and I'll put that on my final meatball dish when we're done. Okay, let's go ahead and just mix this thoroughly together here. And some people do like to use their hands to mix up meatballs. It's your own personal preference. I don't like the sticky feeling of the meat, and I just prefer to wait to touch the meat until the last opportunity possible, which is when we're actually forming the meatballs. So until then, I'll go ahead and I'll just mix this all together with a spoon. And you want to get everything mixed up really well without over mixing it, because if you over mix your meat, it'll become tough. So you just want to get everything mixed together real nice and lightly. Okay, there we have our mixed meat. So now what we're going to do is go ahead and cover the meat and place it in the refrigerator for 1 to 2 hours so that the flavors can go ahead and bind into the meat before we make meatballs. Okay, our meatball mixture has been chilling in the refrigerator for an hour. So now we're going to go ahead and make some meatballs out of it. While we're doing this, it's good to go ahead and start your oven preheating at 425 degrees. I like to make these into golf ball size meatballs. Okay, I emptied my dish out and made myself 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 rows of 28 meatballs. Now what we're going to do is go ahead and put these into that preheated oven at 425 degrees for 20 minutes. After 20 minutes, we'll take them out, and we're going to go ahead and put them into a pot with our favorite pasta sauce, and we're going to go ahead and cook that for at least 1 hour. Our meatballs are now done, and we're going to go ahead and place them into a pot that we're going to pour some pasta sauce into and let them finish cooking as they simmer for about another hour, 1 to 2 hours. Once we have all the meatballs in, we're gonna go ahead and put in our favorite pasta sauce and let those simmer for 1 to 2 hours. Our meatballs are done simmering and we're ready to serve. There's a couple different ways you can go ahead and serve these. I'm gonna go ahead and show you 2 ways that I like to have them. One way is to let you know that these make fantastic meatball sandwiches. So I'm gonna go ahead and just load these all up into a hoagie bun here. Let's see if we can fit an extra one in there. There we go. A little bit of extra sauce in there. Throw on some provolone cheese, and then we just place that in the oven and bake it for a couple minutes until the cheese goes ahead and melts, and you have a great meatball sandwich. The other way that we like this is to go ahead and just serve it over pasta. Go ahead and garnish that with a little bit of, oh, lost a meatball there. Here we go. And then throw on some cheese. And they're ready to eat. 2 great ways to enjoy these meatballs. They make so many meatballs. What I like to do is go ahead and just plan 2 meals out of it. I plan one meal to be meatball sandwiches and the next meal to go ahead and be spaghetti with meatballs. And that's a great idea for you and your family as well. Thanks for joining us at My Low Country Living as we made homemade Italian meatballs. And we even went ahead and showed you 2 ways to serve them with our meatball sandwich and our spaghetti with meatballs. If you enjoyed this video, go ahead and hit the like button and also don't forget to subscribe. Thanks.